All right, hey traders, TG Watkins here. It is September 1st. Welcome to the first day of the month, and we definitely got some action today. So I want to show you guys a couple things because I've been making these videos for quite some time, and it's always good to go back and actually look at what you did and what you said and make sure you're actually kind of sticking to what you've been following and communicating out there. So number one, you can go over here to my Profit Pilot page and go look at the video newsletter. That's one where I've been kind of doing some follow-ups. The other one is you can stick right here with StockCharts and you can go back and look at the videos that I made. This one was from August 19th. I would really look at that one. You can see here I paused it at the place that I was talking about it. And I said there are topping pattern. You know, that was the name. Look at topping patterns. And that's what was going to go on. I said even back then, this is what I think is going to happen. And down we go. I drew it right there. So if you guys are looking for consistency or how I can see these things or how I communicate it to you and what we're looking for, I spelled it out back in this video from August 19th. And then the last one was August 26th. And you could see the same thing. This one I was very, very cautious saying, hey, there's going to be a problem here because I think we're trying to get the last little piece of the upside. And I said the best case scenario is if Jerome Powell is kind of soft and maybe price kind of comes up here over the hourly 50. Otherwise, if he's going to be more hawkish, then we're going to roll over. And it ran right smack into the underside of a downtrending hourly 50 with the Moxie indicator very much below zero. And that's exactly what happened. So we got a little move up like this and down it went, and here we are. And in fact, I was calling for 390. I don't know if I called it out here, but I put it in my Moxie trader room, the alert room, if you guys are interested. I've been calling for 390 and it hit 390 exactly today. So remember, yeah, today is the first Thursday when I'm recording this. You guys will see this on Friday. But man, that worked out so well. And we took quite a few trades that worked out very, very well on that situation. So go back. This one was from August 26th. I don't know if you guys know this, but you can change the playback speed to, I like to do about 1.5. And that way you already know what people are going to say, or you can digest information much faster than people can speak it. And so that way you can get through stuff a lot more quickly if you're interested. So we got that, and yeah, come over here to the SPY. We're looking at, say, let's go over to here. Let's do the daily, hourly, and the 15-minute time frame. And so we basically loaded up short right there. It was the morning that, I think it was Friday morning, Jerome Powell said, that they're going to still be hawkish. They're still going to be really, really tough on the market and the economy and all of that. And so we just loaded up and just let things rock to the downside. And you'll see so many charts out there look exactly like this, which it's the 50, 250, exactly like that. And, I was kind of just guessing, estimating, but, I figured, well, there's a pretty good price level right about here. And I was like, well, what is that price level? Looks like 390. If I could draw a straighter line, but that's what we're looking at, 390. And I also figured that the daily 50 was not going to be support. I figured it was going to go through it and probably push down a little bit. And the little gift that we got today was probably the NVIDIA news, which really kind of plunked the whole market down. So that was great. That was awesome. And then we looked at the internals, and the internals were pretty heavily negative. So I figured that there was going to be a continuation today. Now, I didn't think it was going to necessarily go all day because I was already kind of getting to the point where I was looking at things and I'm like, it's kind of getting stretched. This hourly chart has been just running outside of that third ATR for quite some time. It's really starting to put some gap, some distance between price and the hourly 50. And we are coming up on we're actually at or outside the daily third ATR. So we're just getting into oversold conditions, not to mention just the level that I was talking about, where if you just eyeball it, you kind of look like, oh, there's probably a lot of defense there, or congestion right in there. And so that's what I was looking at. And then sure enough, we exited some of our shorts right at the low. I mean, it was just beautiful as far as how this trade went and some of these things and all that kind of stuff. So that was really good. Got out now and just let it go. I didn't really want to go long or anything, but there was a long move. Actually, if you look down at the 2 and the 5 minute, the Moxie indicator set up down there. And so if you guys are day traders, there was a move to the upside as there was a gap. And also because it was just things were just so short and oversold that you were likely, when all the selling was done, you were likely to get a move to the upside. And so that's exactly what happened. Now, at this point, it's like, okay, well, where do we go? Well, I'm kind of thinking mostly chop, but of course, within chop, there are up moves. So I do think that we're probably going to run into the hourly 50. We might go over the hourly 50, but remember, that's a moving target. It could be that the hourly 50 comes down here and then price comes up. So, right now it looks like if I said, say, just make it up a number, but if I said price was going to hit 405 and you're like, oh, great, it's going to hit the hourly 50. Well, if it takes a couple days, the moving average is going to come down here. And if it might hit 405, it's going to be over the moving average. So I've given myself some, leeway to say that basically I think price is going to come up here somewhere in that regard. It's probably going to poke its head over the hourly 50. I think it's going to probably get close to the daily 21, and which means it's probably going to get just a little bit over the daily 50. But I think what you need to be looking for, and again, this is just the bounce, but remember, it can be up and then it can be down, it can be up and then we can go down, something like that. So I don't really think that there's going to be like a clean move up like this or something that you'd really want to catch. I kind of just think we're going to, maybe just work our way back up there like that, or you're just going to kind of do this a little bit before maybe going lower. So I'm just not interested in playing the long side, because it would be like trying to short an up move. It would be like, oh, okay, price is really extended. I'm still bullish. It's like, oh, I'm still bullish. I think price is going to go higher, but I see that it's overbought, and so I'm just going to short it because I think there's a pullback, and that may not work out very well. Just like right in through here, that would have been really tough to try and short that, because you can see, down and then up and then down, up and then it goes. And I think that this is probably what's going to happen here, just upside down. Just upside down. It's literally the same thing. It's just upside down. Take this and flip it, and you're going to be probably doing the same thing right there. So, up, down, up, down, up, down, until I think it probably goes lower. That's my general thought. Obviously, it's had a really big move these last couple days. It's stretched. It needs to take a breath. It needs to digest this stuff. So give it some time. Yes, it'll probably move around a little bit, but that's fine. I'm really only interested in the short side, and so I'm just going to be waiting for the next opportunity to short. Then if we look at the UVXY, and this was giving us some clues. So I got out of my long trade on this one yesterday for like a 1% gain, 1.5% gain, something like that, because we got in here and we got out like there. So not too big of a deal. And what it was telling me is that the UVXY really didn't explode compared to how much price had moved. And in fact, or the S&P. And what you can see here is, notice how there was very little divergence, like the very little moves up. It was not really making new highs. However, the S&P was making significantly new lows as far as this week goes. And so there was a lack of fear, or there was a level of predictability. Basically, market participants figured that this was going to happen, or at least the big dogs figured this was going to happen. And they said, yeah, we know, the Fed communicated news, we know that, and we know that price is going to go down. We know that the S&P is going to go wherever it's going to go. So this seemed to be kind of baked into the cake. And so that's why we got out. Now, yes, there was a little bit of a move here, but you know what? As I said, I think it was in the NVIDIA news, and we didn't expect that. And so it was just a gift, basically, for the market. And that's fine. We still made a 1 or 1.5% win on this one. Then I think that there's more. So give it some time, give the market some time, and I do think it's going to go lower. But I think what this thing is doing is setting up in a way so that, I don't know, somehow to come back down here, and maybe next time is going to be the big move. And the reason I say that is mostly because of this divergence that we see on the hourly chart. This is a lot of divergence right there. I mean, you can see how long that thing went down. Notice that the Moxie indicator basically went flat. So there's a lot of pent up energy in here, but it's still got to work itself out. The UVXY is a very, very tricky vehicle. Okay, very tricky. So that's usually why if I'm going to short the market, I will do some UVXY, but also do the market itself, because the market is linear. Whereas UVXY is this kind of like strange spring thing that can be a little bit funny. So just understand that UVXY is a very odd vehicle, and you have to be careful with it. Now that takes me over. Well, let me just do the NASDAQ. Again, they're all basically going to look the same, right? Got down to support, oversold, bounce a little bit. Okay. And then if we look at the IWM, we did short this one. So we used TZA, which is the inverse leveraged ETF of this. And I think we shorted it right about there, basically right after Powell came out with the news. And so we shorted it and rode it all the way down there. I mean, it was great. We got from here to here on the TZA leveraged inverse ETF. It was perfect. So, and I also thought, you know what, we were all the way up here and I know price is going to go to the daily 50, probably a little bit further. And so that's exactly what we did. It went right through the daily 50 and you know what, look there, third ATR. So, and you can just see it's getting a little oversold, and you can start seeing some divergence in here. So we'll just let this thing digest. And if I were to give a little bit of an idea of what we might be looking for in the market, just kind of look at this on the daily chart for the IWM. You see how price came down below the daily 50 and then it kind of chopped around a little bit and then essentially got rejected and came back down. I have a feeling that's what the S&P is going to look like. So that's what I mean is look at the down, up, down, up, down, up, but it didn't really go anywhere. So that's why I'm not interested in playing the long side, because sure, you could play a long side right there, but you better make it like a 1 or 2 day trade, because look what happened. It came all the way back down and it basically just oscillated. And that's why I'm saying I really don't have any interest in playing to the long side. I'm more interested in just trying to find out maybe some good short locations coming up in the relatively near future. All right, so that's that. And then if we look at the SOXX, we coming through here. This was an absolute dream. Absolute dream. We took 2 trades on this, and the last one that we took was due to the inverse trampoline move right there, which is what I said in the last video. I said, I think that this move up going into the Jerome Powell speech, if price happens to get over the hourly 50, it's going to be an inverse trampoline move. We said that, we knew it, and that's the same situation right now with the market. The S&P, if it bounces and gets over a downtrending hourly 50 with the Moxie indicator below 0, it's an inverse trampoline move. And that's exactly what this was. And so that's why I'm like, I really almost just wanted to short it up there, but I didn't want to do anything in front of Jerome Powell, so I had to wait till afterward. But we shorted it right there. You know, as soon as we possibly could, when we got the news and everything and saw what was going on, we shorted it. And we got out right there. Again, another just absolutely perfect trade. Absolutely perfect. And what it do? Gap down, pushed a little bit, got way outside of the third ATR, and then got outside of the third ATR, and look what it did. Went right to its previous low. So, you know, is it likely to keep going right from there? Probably not. So that's why you go and you just cash in and say, thank you, market. I will take that and I will walk away happy. Now, part of that, if we talk about NVIDIA, since NVIDIA was the one that did all this, let's go over here maybe to weekly. So NVDA. So news. Kind of their sales are down, but they already knew that. They were guiding even lower. We already knew that. But I think more China stuff. Something about them. You know, I think things are going to be leaving China, or there might be something going on out there. But if you guys take the Moxie stuff, the Moxie rules, the Moxie patterns and stuff, and you look at the elf shoe, and what is this on the weekly chart? It is the arch of the foot for the elf shoe. And so what do you do in a bear market? If you're looking for a short, you short at the arch of the foot for the elf shoe. It's just another one of those Moxie things that I talk about. And so that was perfect. You could see price up, Moxie indicator down. Then you get a double top, Moxie indicator down. There's your Moxie price trigger. There's your rejection by the hourly 50. And then just boom, down you go. And the news helped. So awesome. So we'll see. We'll see if there's a bounce or anything else to do to take advantage of that. But it's, you know, down. It's really heavily down. Then MDB, kind of the same thing, but also if you look just the charts, now it had earnings, but if you look at the charts, what did it do? It got rejected by the weekly 50, and it got rejected by the daily 200. I mean, picture perfect. And you know what? Here's an elf shoe in here too. Look at that. So if you go here, here's the leg, here's the heel, here's the arch of the foot, there's the ball of the foot, there's the elf toe. That thing worked out really well. So super well. And you can see here another inverse trampoline move on the hourly chart. Price should not be over the 50 if the Moxie indicator is below 0, and down it went. So that was MDB. Crowd, kind of doing the same thing. So take your pick. What do you want to short? Honestly, look at this. Price ran right into the weekly 50 and did it before. Ran right into the weekly 50 and ran into the 200. And you know what? This is an inverse elf shoe. Leg, heel, arch of the foot, ball of the foot, elf toe. And that was an inverse trampoline move on the hourly time frame. They're all doing the same thing. So much repetition. So much repetition. That's the whole thing about trading, is you try and find those patterns that really work for you. And when you see them, you know what to do. And that's what the Moxie indicator is about. That's what my teaching is about. That's what we try to do, is I try to convey this information to you, teach you, so that you can see it, recognize it, and you can do this on your own. You know, because I may not always be here for you. In fact, I'm going on vacation next week. So I think we're going to have to make a delayed video for you. It'll come out on time, but it won't be exactly current. So CYBR, same kind of deal as the rest of these. Ran right into the weekly 50, right into the daily 200. Notice the gap between price and the daily 50, 50, 250 maneuver, and an inverse elf shoe. Let me zoom in on that for you so you guys can see it. There's the leg. Sorry. There's the leg. There's the heel. There's the arch of the foot. There's the ball of the foot. There's the elf toe. And price up, Moxie indicator down. Not quite an inverse trampoline move, but you could say that was price up over the 50, but the Moxie indicator below 0. Short it. It's a bear market we're in. Okay, so that's kind of with the technology and all those names. Now, how about Amazon? Well, look at the big players. Gosh, you know, maybe you guys find it's boring, that it's repetitive, but you know what? The boring nature of stock trading for the repetition means you can make money, because then you generally know what's going to happen. You can prepare for it, and then you can size up, and you can walk right into it. That's the whole point of this, is that when you see something that's familiar and you kind of know where it's going to go, you know what to do about it. So how about Amazon? Went right into the underside of the weekly 50, right into the daily 200. They're all doing the same thing. And what do we got? 50, 200, 50 maneuver. And you can see price got rejected by the underside of a downtrending hourly 50 with the Moxie indicator below 0. But leading up to that, which we obviously knew, price was going up, Moxie indicator was going down. There's the Moxie price trigger. It literally doesn't get any easier than that. It was just so easy. And I've been dabbling with some options. I normally don't do options, but I took I don't know, short trade right there and made 50%. So not too bad. That was good. All right, so let's see. Amazon, Apple. Michael Burry's been talking about this one. And a lot of people have been talking about this one. Oh, it's not a bull market. Look how much Apple moved up. Okay, but you see that trend line? Actually, you can maybe even make that better. There you go. There's that trend line. So there's that. And then another 50, 200, 50 maneuver. And again, giant gap between price and the daily 50. And Moxie price trigger right there. And price got rejected by the hourly 50. I mean, this stuff was just so textbook. Absolutely textbook. It's fun. It's fun. It was actually definitely a fun week. This stuff made more sense than some of the other things I've been seeing over the last few weeks. So that being said, you know, price is sitting on the weekly 21. It's sitting on the daily 50 and pretty oversold. Okay, well, give it some time. I think we're going to go lower, but not right now. We had a huge move to the downside. Give it a little bit of break. Let it move up a little bit. Let it kind of catch its breath, and then you find a new higher place to short it. How about Microsoft? Gosh, it looks like Amazon, doesn't it? It looks exactly like Amazon. It's the same thing. Look at price coming up into the underside of the weekly 50. How about the daily 200? And that's a 50, 250 maneuver. And you had price up, Moxie indicator down. There's your Moxie price trigger, and there's your rejection by the hourly 50. Just absolutely perfect. So perfect. And of course, it's getting oversold. It's very stretched. It's back into a previous support zone. So expect it to probably bounce a little bit. Bounce, flag, something like that. Again, not sure I would really trade this to the long side. You can find an opportunity, but I think I'm just going to let it do its thing, and I'll look for a short later. How about Tesla? Same thing. Same thing. Weekly 50, daily 200, elf shoe, 50, 250, double top, negative divergence, rejected by the hourly 50, Moxie indicator below 0. All the same thing. So maybe you could spread your account around 5 of them, or you could just put your entire account in one of them. I don't know, something like that. But remember, this is for educational purposes only, so don't sue me because I told you what to do. All right, Costco. This one was very interesting. It stayed stronger than I was expecting, but I was able to finally take a short trade on this, and it worked out very, very nicely. But you can see price up, Moxie indicator down, and so I was kind of looking for a short in through here, but I really wanted to wait for the daily chart to shape up a little bit better. And as you can see, it did have one last little bounce. And so when it did bounce off that daily 50, and when it came up here and the Moxie indicator was well below 0, I looked at that, I was like, ooh, that's not a good thing for any bulls. That is a trap. That is a fake move in there. For all intents and purposes, this price over the 50 and this Moxie indicator basically below zero, that basically is an inverse trampoline move. I know technically it's not, but it's basically an inverse trampoline move. And I was telling my subscribers at the time, don't trust this. It's not looking good. It's the last bit of the move. I'd actually be looking to short that. And we started shorting it right there as price came up into the underside of a downtrending hourly 50 with the Moxie indicator below zero, and finally failing the daily 21, heading right for the daily 50. Cool, you know? So give it a little bit of time. It's probably gonna, you know, hang out and oscillate around here a little bit, but I think eventually it's gonna roll over, go down. Don't see why it wouldn't. All right, and then we'll just kind of finish up with some of the energy stuff. If we look at USO, I think, yeah, we've been kind of looking at this. It's been a little bit of a rock and a hard place. It has some support on the monthly. It has some support on the weekly. It has some support on the daily, you know, like the weekly 50, the daily 200. And it was trying to make a move up. And you could see that with the XOP or XLE. And you can see it in individual names and even UNG and all that kind of stuff. But I thought, you know what? The underlying commodity doesn't look totally good. I don't like price trying to go up across that downtrending moving average. And the Moxie indicator is still very far below zero. So I made room for it. I said, okay, you know, they can go up. They can do that. They can do that for a while. But you do need to be aware that you are going up into resistance. You are going up into a downtrending moving average, and that is usually conflicting directions. And so that's going to be a problem. Lo and behold, now that the move is worked out, this is an inverse trampoline move. Price should not be over the 50 if the Moxie indicator is below zero. The other thing that we can start seeing with this is that the weekly 8 is starting to cross below the weekly 21. That is a change of trend on that time frame. So look at the weekly, 8 and 21. Look at the daily, getting rejected by the daily 50. I think the next general step is probably for this thing to break lower. Now, I don't really want to do anything about it. I don't really trade oil too much. I've dabbled with it because there were a couple good setups when nothing else was setting up. But right now, I don't want to do anything with it. It's pulling back, it's going sideways, it's going down. Like, I don't really want to do much with it, but I was not looking at it long. That was the moral of the story, is I wasn't looking at it long. And if we look at XOP, which is something I'm a little bit more interested in trading when it sets up, because I can trade gush. Same thing, you can see price trying to go up across the downtrending moving average. And then you could also see here, look at the negative divergence. Price up, Moxie indicator flat. That is exactly the opposite of what I showed you guys with UVXY, which is why I'm generally becoming bullish on the UVXY. You could also see price up, Moxie indicator down, if you want to look at that. And so we caught a little move, somewhere right in there. We caught about 11%, I think, with gush. And that was it. That was it. Because if you look here, you know, coming up into previous resistance areas, and if you look, you could see third ATR, and it jumped off the 8 EMA. It was just getting overbought, and I could see what was going here with the Moxie indicator and what it was trying to communicate with you. So we got our little bit. We said thank you. We walked away, and then pretty much the next thing it did is it imploded. So of course, maybe there's a bounce, but I think overall it's going to keep going lower. I would generally expect XOP to probably go to the daily 50, and then we'll have to assess if that's going to be support or not. Then we look at UNG. I think I covered this before, and I said that if it's going to go higher, it needs to pull back first. And I said it needs to pull back to the daily 21. There it is. And on the hourly chart, price up, Moxie indicator down. Again, we took a little move in here with Boyle, which is the leverage ETF of the UNG. So Boyle, and I think we made like 17 or 20% on that. But there's your Moxie price trigger, and then you could just see price was starting to fall and fail below the hourly 50. And again, it all came from the Moxie indicator and why I looked at that. As I said, there might be some temporary support here at the daily 21, but again, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily short it, but I don't really see a long. There's just a lot going on geopolitically with oil, energy, and natural gas. So I feel like there are easier things for me to trade that are not so responsive to the news and stuff out there. So anyway, that's everything. I hope you guys have a good time with this one. And yeah, go back and look at those videos so you guys can see that I was spot on for the last few weeks about all this. It's been fun. I like it when the market actually makes sense for a time. That's when you know you need to size up because things are working out for you. All right, everyone. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you at the next one.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.